Okay, that's weird. If there's a static coming from a YouTube video, it's just a Celtic playlist, but I hope it doesn't come back if that's the case. That's kind of annoying. I don't like that. Huh. Oh no. Well, dang. Yeah. All it was is just like random Celtic music. Well, if it comes back, just let me know. Oh, that sucks. We're off to a great start right now. Just static. Blah. Alright. But I think we could just get going now, so... Howdy, folks. Welcome to the Bite the Robot Show. I'm, of course, Bite, and, you know what? I'm gonna snooze the ad. Because, we're gonna just do a bit of an intro here. And it's just that, upon rereading All Guardsman Party, there is in fact a lot. So I feel like, before I start a big read, I'd like to read something a bit funny. Hey, Oliuppo, what's up, dude? I'd like to read something else that I think is a bit of a classic that's weirdly getting a bit of, like, attention again. And it surrounds... And those of you who've read the title of this stream, you probably know exactly where we're going with this, but if you don't, this particular story involves a funny little game. A funny little game with ASCII characters. A funny little game of dwarves and of digging. Well, I guess you could call today's story brain rot, I suppose, but we're not reading any old little fan fiction. In fact, I can't really call this a fanfic. This is more of like a let's play in written form for today on the Bad Bytes. We are going to be reading Boatmurdered. And like I said, if you read the title of my stream, you know exactly where we're going with this. So let me just pop this Vindo. Vindavasha. Okay. So settle in, because we're going to be yeah. What happened to my voice there? Good God. Because we're going to be going into a little bit of a story about dwarves. Oh, yes. And we'll do All Guardsman Party one day. But today is not that day, because I did manage to find a website where I can read the whole thing, but I decided against it for today. I'm feeling a bit lazy. And also I felt more in a dwarfy mood, so... That's what we're doing tonight. So, without further ado, let's begin. This is the story of Boatmurdered. Part 1. Intro by Evil Slug. What follows is a Succession-style let's play of the game Dwarf Fortress. In it, we chronicle the rise and fall of the epic dwarven fortress Boatmurdered. Parenthesis, actually, it's pretty much all fall. Each ruler was given a single year of game time in which to manage the fortress. Then they gave the reins over to the next player in line. I have added the occasional editor's note to clarify things, but mostly I stay out of the way. The madness surrounding Boatmurdered is quite apparent on its own, I feel. The official list of madmen, rulers in big quotes. Tourette Dog, Marijuana, aka Magor Grendel, Keyboard Fox, aka Furry or Kalo, Locus, Stark Raving Mad, Bremen, Sankis, Astronautonomicon, Unknowing, Cross Quantum, Major Failure, Mystic Mongol, Dr. Zero, and Gorilla Medic. All eras of Boatmurdered history are highly noteworthy and interesting. things very quickly progressed from somewhat casual daily elephant deaths to retired rulers rampaging and beating people to death, parenthesis, while burning alive. The heavy downward slide that would come to define Boatmurdered seems to have begun during stark raving Mad's rule, with the utterly epic Elephant War. Historians seem to agree that the insanity surrounding Boatmurdered began to increase almost exponentially from that point forward. The WTF The WTF is Dwarf Fortress Crash Course. The thread to follow generally assumes you have a tiny bit of knowledge about the game being played. In hopes of making it an easy read for those unfamiliar, I've condensed most of the important factors from the general info threads and wiki into this brief introduction. You don't need to know a thing about the game to genuinely enjoy the playthrough, but a tiny bit of knowledge does help. Here's the Too Long Didn't Read guide first. Left to right. Elephant. Dwarf. Miasma cloud, parenthesis, the purple cloud of stench that comes from rotting bodies. For a better outline of the game, read on. Impatient types who already know Dwarf Fortress well, please skip straight to the first update. The initial update outlines the rules by which this game was played. Parenthesis, there aren't that many. Ha. The second update is where we generate the world and actually get the ball rolling. What kind of game is Dwarf Fortress? In a nutshell, Dwarf Fortress is best described as a 2D base building game in the theme of Dungeon Keeper. The concept is simple, the graphics are simple, but the depth of the game is fairly awesome. Even more amazing when you realize it is all the product of a single-man gaming company, in parenthesis. The dwarves you control, air quotes, are somewhat autonomous. They have likes, dislikes, and needs. While you can assign them specific duties and set basic orders, they have minds of their own and will act according to how they feel. You can give them a job, but that doesn't always mean they'll do it right away. Injuries to all animals and dwarves are tracked, down to internal organs and body parts. Dwarves that have moods are affected by the things around them. They can decide to throw a party for their friends, or they might stress out under strain and suddenly kill each other with little to no warning. Female dwarves occasionally get pregnant, and if they are exposed to trauma, parenthesis say, a goblin siege,
water. Become.
They very well might miscarry. Sad thoughts caused by things of that nature can lead to dwarves to tantrums or even suicide. And also I now need to hydrate because Holy Uppa redeemed it. Just imagine that I have a big tankard of mead over here. Which, might actually be kind of more psychotic the more I think about it. Ah, well. Let's see now. Dwarves to tantrums or even suicide. You begin with 7 dwarves and scarce few supplies at the face of a mountain. Your only objective is to survive the elements while building yourself as cool a fortress as you possibly can before you inevitably die. Simple enough, yes? Hello? Reptimus raiding party, what's up, dudes? Hello, Cat. Hello, everybody. How y'all doing? Today we read Boatmurdered. The game is displayed in a pseudo-ASCII style, which uses letters for objects in the game world, similar to NetHack. I hear you groaning, but you'll quickly catch the hang of things. The players provide excellent explanation of what is going on in each screenshot. I've included a general key to some common items below, should you find yourself needing one. In the following shot, a bunch of dwarves are charging off to be trampled by elephants outside the fortress. The cliff face bisects the picture, with outdoors on the left and cliff interior on the right. Right, so I'm not going to go through the entire key that they have here. So if you need it, pause here, because I'll scroll through it quickly. But yes, thank you, Reptimus, for the raid. It's good to see you, broski. How you doing? Hello, Cat. How you doing? How y'all been? How's everything doing? Alright, let's see. Yeah, so I'm not going to go through all of this. but you can read this at your own discretion if you pause. But basically, this is how the game looks. This is a bunch of dwarves running off to battle. This is the inside of the fortress. There's some stone happening in here. These are ballistas that are gonna start shooting. Aw, what's up, Sleeps? How you doing, bud? Just a chill stream tonight? Hell yeah, dude. Yeah. But yes, this is what the game looks like. Maybe one of these days I'll play Dwarf Fortress for myself, and you guys can watch me die miserably in it. But the shots in the thread are generally pretty self-explanatory, so to get to the thread, enjoy. And by the way, in the words of the great ruler Stark Raving Mad, welcome to fucking Boatmurdered. Played some Beyond Blue while chatting with folks. Very nice. I have no idea what Beyond Blue is, but I'm presuming it's chill. Part 2. By Tourette Dog. Have you ever wanted to be a dwarf, dig into mountain halls, and fear unholy amphibious undead elephants that scale walls and murder your entire family while you sleep? Your wait is over. Your dream is here, and that dream is the official Goon Dwarf Fortress Succession game. Rules. 1 year equals 1 turn. From spring of 1 year to the spring of next. Once you see the cheery green "Spring has arrived" text, save it, zip it, and get it to the next player. Upload it to rapidshare.com or something similar and post the link to your save game so the next person can get it and begin. Feel free to break your turn up into a bunch of posts, but let's try to keep it moving along. Once it's your turn, you get a week from the time the link is posted to take your turn. If you start but can't finish, your successor has the option to pick up where you left off and play out the rest of your turn. And there, if you don't start, then the old save game just goes to the next player. If you trash the fort to total, and I mean total, unplayability, parenthesis e.g. magma flood oh god, will revert to an old save, but overcoming setbacks is half the fun, so hopefully we won't have to do this. Aww. Hey everybody. Anytime I see a raider comment, it makes me happy. Y'all are awesome. Thank you so much, Reptimus, for the raid. It's good to see you, bro. I hope you enjoy the story, because this is another one of my favorite ones. Pretty much everything goes except for the following. Number 1, using huge bridge hallways to kill demons and sieging armies, and 2, things that make later turns totally unplayable, such as flooding the world, mining adamantine, or removing bridges in creative ways, so that the pathing eats it and the bridges can't be reconstructed, and the fortress descends into an orgy of violence and starvation. If you do this, we roll back to an old save and everyone gets dwarven blue balls, parenthesis which are shorter but stronger than the regular variety. So nobody do this, please. If you want in on this, please post your because that's... let's see. We'll start with the current version, 22F, and use that until further notice. Updates happen, but please mention the version number when you post your save. Using new saves with old versions makes bad things happen. Mini FAQ. Okay. I'm gonna skip all of that, because this is just more rule stuff. Yeah. So all of the player lists are going to be playing in this order. Bear this in mind. Because now we're actually going to get started with Part 3, Tourette Dog. Prologue. In the year 1050, the dwarven civilization of Kinmel Bill, the Oaken Tomes, exhausted the last of its mines. Driven by a lust for gold and rumors of the priceless and all but mythical metal adamantine, a team of 7 colonists was dispatched to build a new home for the dwarves of Kinmel Bill in the smooth points of pride. The first year of diaries from the ill-fated foreman of the mine were recovered, giving some hint as to the beginnings of the fortress that once stood there, if not its mysterious and presumably gruesome fate. The 1050 Diaries. Month, granite. Year, 1050. We've set out for the mine, led by the Miners' Guild representative. The man claims to have set several successful expeditions, so taking his advice, we've set out with a skeleton crew. Just one miner, one lumberjack, a pair of farmers, and some craftsmen. He suggested plenty of meat, and my favorite, booze, as well as some seeds and a few dogs and cats. He swears the dogs will pay for themselves a dozen times over in warding off larger wildlife, while the cats make indoor life more comfortable and pest-free. I thought he muttered something about their taste as well, but I'm sure I misheard. The new fortress site is truly in the puckered sphincter of nowhere. The nearest civilization, if you could call it that, is a goblin citadel to the northeast, but the guildsman swears they've surveyed for precious metals and this is the best spot. There's also a river nearby, which means one underground, which means we can start our farm without much trouble once we dig to it. Of course, he waits till he's leaving to tell us the name of this site. A new chapter of Dwarven history begins in this here place. Wait, let me start that again, because I don't think I said that right. A new chapter of Dwarven history begins here at this place. Koganusan, Boatmurdered. Strike the earth. Then takes off at a flat run, promising to be back real soon. Bloody nobles. But still, nothing to do but start. Stockpiles. Send someone to chop a few trees and set someone else to dig for the river. Later the same month. God damn, but there are a lot of elephants around. Month, fell site, 1050. Hit the river. Got lucky and found it at a low point. Heard tell of some nasty cave floods. And damn glad I didn't have to see one. We can start a farm now and carve out some other rooms. Month, hematite, 1050. A few months on and it looks like we might actually survive. We got a farm up and got some bedrooms, which ain't got much to look at. But at least they've got beds. Got a dining room with some decent thrones. Got a bunch of traps. God knows why, but the lads love them. Stand around staring at them for hours. Nothing out of the river yet, and the elephants have been pretty quiet. Too quiet. I see them out there, staring at me with those beady eyes, those gleaming tusks, looking over the river. Elephants can't swim, can they? Several pages of the journal are torn out here. The entries seem to resume sometime in the fall. Merchants trying to dodge the elephants. The betting pool's up to 10 stone blocks and a rat skull. We really need to make some coins. I guess the trade depot was a good idea, but we'll see if we can finish it before they get here or get eaten by those bloody pachyderms. Now riddle me this. What sort of soft-headed, beard-gnawing merchant braves goblins, mountains, more goblins, and then those damn elephants to show up with nothing but one piece of cheese and 2 rolls of cloth? These merchants, that's who. I noticed one tried to eat his own ear coming in. Gods know how they're gonna get out. Fortunately, they're dumb enough to take some of these useless trinkets in trade. Stukos merchant, greetings from the mountain homes. Your efforts are legend there. Let us trade. Pigtail cloth, cave spider silk, dwarven cheese. Sandstone harp, talc ring, and talc bracelet. Great. Month, timber. Year 1050. Fall settling in, and it seems like a good time to take stock of where we are before the winter gets around to killing us. Our bedrooms and dining rooms are finished. We're running low on booze, so we put a still together. I've never seen the lads put any building up so fast. And we've got a butcher's shop behind the closed door so the squeamish don't get put off their meat. Seeing where it comes from. There's also the statue garden, to get them away from throwing rocks at the river, at the elephants, and the kennels, so we can actually start training the dogs. One of the peasants has been working on smoothing the floors in the dining room. Looks like she actually picked up a bit of a knack for it. The farm's under-tended, but we've got plenty of food, so I'm not too worried. What does worry me is the wildlife. They're too quiet. I know they're planning something. Alright. Month, Moonstone, 1050. Growing season's over, I got a new project for the lads. A little bit of digging and creative channel building. We can get a nice moat set up and hopefully keep away most of the wildlife, at least from the north. We'll put a drawbridge over the top of it, and we can seal off that side if the elephants get too close for comfort. One of the lads thinks we might even be able to set some traps in there for some critters if we work at it a bit. Might kick up our breeding stocks for food for a tad. Might kick up our breeding stocks for food a tad. There we go. There we go. Month Opal. Those fucking monkeys. I didn't even see them come in, but one of them ran off with something. Alright. Oh shit, these are not cute little chimpanzees. Oh no. These are big mandrills, pissed off and greedy. They feel justified in stealing anything not nailed down, and if they can pry something, parenthesis for instance a dwarf's arm, loose, then it ain't nailed down in their book. A whole horde of them busted in looking for gods know what. One of our war dogs went out to fight them off. ... Which didn't go so well. A few more of the war dogs ran out and attacked. I have to say, I'm slightly terrified by them. One of the bitches actually gave birth while she was attacking, and her puppies joined in on the carnage. At the end of the day, the 3 mandrills were dead, and they took one war dog with them and injured another one and a puppy. Ugh. It damaged the left lung, ew. The poor dog's in bad shape. He keeps trying to find the dwarf who trained him, and then passing out. A few minutes later, he'll wake up, take another few steps, and pass out again. I'm tempted to have him put out of his misery by the butcher, but nobody will touch him, and seems a sad way to treat someone who fought off the mandrills. The puppy is still running around with half his chest missing. Makes it damn disturbing when he humps your leg, I'll tell you that. Month Obsidian, 1050. And with that, I'm off. The fort's in passable shape for the next overseer. Got the drawbridge hooked up with a lever in the statue garden. There's some traps at the river entrance, and, well, got most of the livestock crammed into a cage near the butcher. And everything looks fit to start the next spring. I'm leaving. If I can dodge the elephants one last time, and if the mandrills don't get me first. Here's the fort as I left it. We'll see what the future has for it. And I'm spent. Next. That's what the fort looks like right now. Whenever I read about this story, there are moments in it where I'm like, oh god. Alright. Part 5. By Marijuana. First granite, 1052. I came to this dump looking for a royal fortress. Instead, I found this hole in the dirt, complete with useless hillbillies. There's not one good crafter among this lot, and I hear there'll be a whole troop of unskilled immigrants coming in from the homelands any time now. Better stick to the basics and gather some food so we won't all die. Pull the damn lever! Oh no, I didn't think they'd be coming this early. Third fell site, 1052. Some blockhead is holding my carpenter shop hostage and demanding shells and wood. I've ordered the worthless immigrants to go fishing. Who knows, maybe one of them will find a dead turtle on the riverbank. Seventh fell site, 1052. Nothing gets you going in the morning quite like a delicious syrup roast. Sticks right to the bones. Sixth hematite, 1052. Remember that nutty dwarf who took over my shop? Well, he finally found what he was looking for, and now he's made a legendary table that he calls Sound syrup. He drew some scary werewolves on the thing, but it's still pretty nice. Assuming we can ever get him to drop it, this'll be great for our dining room. Voodoo Deeb, sound syrup, a mahogany table. This is a mahogany table. All craftsdwarfship is of the highest quality. It is encircled with bands of kapok and turtle shell. This object is adorned with hanging rings of mahogany. On the item are images of werewolves in kapok. 12 hematite, 1052. Today one of our apprentice carpenters fell asleep on the bridge and was swept away by a flood, never to be seen again. On the same day, the metalsmith gave birth to a beautiful baby girl named Doran Clearingsilvers. Also, Mandrel stole several objects that we had lying around outside, but nothing important. Just a few bits of clothing and an iron helmet. First, a malachite, 1052. We have so much food that it's becoming a bother to store it all. I have reassigned most of my dwarves to work on the secret project. 17th malachite, 1052. A farmer tried to organize a party in the statue garden when everyone needed to be working, so I locked the bastard in there. Hope he enjoys partying alone. Damn snake men. They came out of nowhere and mauled one of my masons. Why did it have to be one of the useful dwarves? Now he'll never work again. Kill Zimelnolul, Mason. Kill Plains Mirror. He is unconscious and tired, and he has no right lower leg. Eehee. That sucks. 24th Galena, 1052. We finally have enough housing for all those freeloader immigrants. It's a good thing, too. They were getting restless, and restless dwarves soon become angry dwarves. 12th of Limestone, 1052. One of my jewelers was possessed during an early summer. It's now autumn, and only now did I figure out what he was asking for. Raw crystal glass. I got it made for him with a bit of effort, and he took that and several rough gems and made an amulet called Necro Clearings. It sure has a lot of spikes. Hang on. Ugit Hod Stob. Necro Clearings. A red spinel amulet. This is a red spinel amulet. All craftsdwarfship is of the highest quality. This object menaces with spikes of red spinel, aquamarine, crystal glass, and green glass. 24th of Limestone, 1052. Secret project completed. When enemies try to siege our beloved Boatmurdered, we can retract the main bridge by pulling the lever in the southwest corner of our statue garden. This will force them to walk through the southern gallery, where we will fire upon them mercilessly with the 2 ballista in the east. If for some reason we need to drain the water, pulling the northwest lever in the statue garden will accomplish this. 26 Limestone, 1052. Dwarven traders are back. I gave him some of the junk that the previous overseer left here in exchange for quite a bit of meat. 4th Timber... Ugh. Dang, this voice is starting to get me. 4th Timber, 1052. It's late in autumn now, and another damn immigration has arrived. Why didn't anyone tell me about this? I had everything nice and neat and... oh, forget it. I always knew I was destined for misery. Hi, Mr. McRae, how you doing? We're reading Dwarf Fortress. Specifically, the story of Boatmurdered. I love this story. Basically, it's an ASCII game about dwarves. I explained most of it at the beginning, but basically this, the little happy faces are dwarves. M's are mandrels, E's are elephants, and yeah, it's good stuff. Let's see. 7th Timber, 1052. The lengths of my brewers and threshers were traveling to get barrels was really starting to annoy me, and so I've made the immigrants move all furniture indoors. 27th Timber, 1052. We have tunneled new rooms for the fall immigrants. It's taking quite a long time to get the place furnished, though. Winter has come. Thankfully, more than enough beer and food to last. Here's a map of the fortress as it is now. Fourth Moonstone, 1052. We are getting overrun with animals. I think I need a butcher or two to sort this problem out. There's a lot of dogs and cats. 12th Moonstone, 1052. By the gods, another jeweler is possessed. I hope this asshole doesn't want crystal glass too. 26th Moonstone, 1052. The jeweler has finished his artifact. Behold, the bronze mist, a green glass portal. Kilrusod. The bronze mist, a green glass portal. This is a green glass portal. All Kraftsdorf ship is of the highest quality. This object is adorned with hanging rings of pigtail and menaces with spikes of green glass, rose quartz, and limestone. On the item are images of flies in limestone. I love reading the descriptions of the legendary items that you can get from this. It's so funny. 16th Opal, 1052. It is midwinter. I am pleased to note that the immigrant housing is completed. I have also constructed an armory for our future defense force here, near the barracks. With a stockpile in the south for weapons and a stockpile in the north for armor. 8th of Obsidian, 1052. The poor mason who was ambushed by snake men died of thirst today. He'd been refusing to eat or drink because he was so depressed. 19th Obsidian, 1052. The mandrills came back, but this time we got them. Oh, look at this. We have a Banivator here, huh? Dysfunctional squirt. Well, you know what I say to you? Shadow Realm. Enjoy the clown makeup, fool. Sure, they ripped a crap. Okay, hang on, I'll just start this entry over. 19th Obsidian, 1052. The mandrills came back, but this time we got them. Precisely, Sleeps. Let that person go to the circus. 19th Obsidian, 1052. The mandrills came back, but this time we got them. Sure, they ripped a craftsman to pieces, but we got every last one of them. Mandrill hats, anyone? It's alright, Sleeps. I appreciate it all the same. Thank you very much for helping me send that doofus to the Shadow Realm. And the circus. You're all good, my friend. Let's see. Spring has arrived. It is granite 1st, 1053. And with that, this final map of the fortress. I bid farewell to the outpost of Boatmurdered, and wish the best of luck to my successor. This is what it looks like right now. That's the hallway he built. There's a lot of stuff going on in there right now. There's some barracks right there, too. Part 6. Alright, Part 6 by Keyboard Fox. I'm gonna do my turn right now. Is it okay if I don't try and mess with screenshots very much instead write a lot? Poem Dexter. I was kind of hoping for screenshots of you setting everything up. In the main thread, you tend to have a good feel for what's going on in the game, and being a newbie isn't always the best thing in this game, requiring multiple restarts because of the Oh, I should have done that from the beginning. Keep up the good work. Keyboard Fox posted. I'll try putting in some screenshots at the end of my post showing what I've done. Nothing very big has happened so far this year, so there won't really be any need for action shots anyway. Right now there's something like 1,000 edible food, parenthesis exaggerating a little bit. So whoever's up next shouldn't have that hard of a time of it. Alcohol levels are fluctuating around the 150 to 200 mark. The dwarves keep drinking it really fast. Whoever's up next should think about making a second still since the immigration wave comes in. Or once the immigration wave comes in. Another thing to do is to get the magma smelters and the forge up and running. If I don't manage it by the end of winter anyway. Edit. This is in character. I just tend to, my character tends to feel stuck up and superior about how his designs are so much better than the others. Spring, Granite. I have arrived. It is an interesting fortress setup. Quite unlike some of the ones I'm used to designing. My first reaction is to set up and produce as much food I can, until I realize there's plenty of prepared food, and the fortress should hold out there. Still, I shall be setting up the farms and growing plenty of plump helmets. I know from experience that overconfidence equals starvation, as far as food is concerned. After a few minutes of studying the layout, I decide that my talents would best be used in first making things more secure. The system my predecessor set up looks workable, but in my experience, everything can be improved via liberal application of traps. I must become moist before I continue this voice. Hang on. Thank you, Jason, for unleashing Shining Finger. I appreciate it, bud. Alright, let's see, where was I? You were hoping to time that so I would spit my water. You tried. You tried, man, you tried. Alright. First, I cancelled the crafts dwarves, repetitive making of bone crafts, and I set them to making dark stone short swords. These work just as well as the steel swords and will be perfect for military or trap usage. I also designate an obsidian stockpile nearby, so they have plenty of material to work with. There's a lot of redeems happening right now, oh my god. Nice. At this point, I noticed the complete mishmash my predecessor made of job settings. Obviously, the buffoon has never heard of specialization. I take some time to turn off fishing in every dwarf I can find. We have enough food through farming and cooking. We do not need to waste time in inefficiently wading through the river. I decide to start by digging a tunnel deeper into the mountain, testing to see what it is there to be found. The idea of our dwarves carrying stones endlessly offends me. I remove the big stone stockpile. The masons can carry their own damn stones. Speaking of stockpiles, the furniture stockpile doesn't seem to have anything allowed in it. What sort of imbecile was my predecessor anyway? Our miner has found a large chasm. Our metalsmith has been possessed. He immediately runs off to sulk in his bedroom, which leads me to notice that we do not have a forge set up yet, and we have struck iron ore. Slate. Finally, our non-possessed metalsmith has gotten around to starting work on the forge. Why we have so many dwarves in stone detailing duty, I shall never know. Another thing that seems odd to me is that our loom is a distance away from the river, and the farmers' workshops, both of which would be logical places to put it. Again, I have to wonder just what was my predecessor thinking. The possessed metalsmith has claimed the newly built forge and has started demanding an ore which we do not have available. I set on miners to work immediately in hopes of finding it. I also am designing an elephant trap, which might also work against sieges. Just as I was typing that last entry, immigrants arrived, among them 3 nobles, the manager, the sheriff, and a House Barite representative. Damn, that's a lot of migrants. Our fortress is now 58 strong. The possessed metalsmith has begun his construction using 2 iron ore. I begin designing the nobles' quarters, planning on using the same space for their dining and sleeping needs. The possessed metalsmith has created Dusimodo's Calficode and toy iron hammer. I wonder if it works as well as a real one. What? Something going on? No? Okay. I thought I saw my chat move for a sec. I was like, what? Did I not read something? Alright, let's see. A fell sight. Our cage traps have already proven their worth, as they have captured an entire raid of mandrills. It is not proper for me to do so, but I feel the need to taunt my predecessors. I have begun building a second farm. The congestion of horses annoys me. I have designated a number of them for slaughter. A miner has found a river of lava, magma, whatever. Fortunately, it did not flood, and thus ends spring. More to follow soon. Part 7 by Keyboard Fox. Summer, Hematite. The nobles' quarters are finished. House Barrett representative is whining about it not being high quality enough, but screw him. Wait, is this the same person? Yeah, it is. Okay. I have to keep doing the posh voice. Hang on. Summer, Hematite. The noble's quarter is finished. The House Barrite representative is whining about it not being high quality enough, but screw him. Our legendary miner is headed out to work on the elephant trap, and the elephants ran away from him. Things didn't fare so well for the non-legendary miner, though, who got severely injured. Malachite. Some more migrants have arrived, right into a herd of elephants. 1 dead, 1 injured. 2 dead, 1 injured. The migrants led the elephants right into the cage traps I set up. 6 elephants captured. Galena. The elephant trap is complete. Things have been rather quiet recently. I'm starting to worry that something's about to happen. I am worried about the future of our fortress, namely that the next rulers will not be as security-minded as I am, so I shall flood the chasm with magma and lava and kill all the unnamed horrors within. Construction has started on the second farm. A metalsmith has been possessed. Since I am doing heavy-scale lava flooding right now, building a magma forge isn't feasible. But once the chasm is filled, I have some steel bars standing by. The chasm has enough magma and lava in it now. Construction can proceed as planned. A note to my successors: don't pull the switch near the chasm. It causes everything past it to die from magma. Autumn, limestone. I'm worrying about our possessed metalsmith. If we can't get the magma forge up in time... Construction on the magma forge has started. Now it's just a race against time. The dwarven caravan has arrived. A thief has appeared. And just as quickly it was struck down. 2 more elephants have been captured. A farmer has been trampled to death. I traded some bone crafts and totems for more food. Not that we need more food, though. A fire imp has sprung up from ambush. It threw a fireball at a nearby carpenter, injuring it enough so that it could never go over and kill it, and a peasant came up and wrestled it to death. A sandstone. Unfortunately, the magma forge could not be completed in time, and the metalsmith went insane. It is currently running around and babbling to himself. Correction, he ran into one of the channels and kept running upstream until he drowned. We have struck platinum. Good times. We've caught a leopard. This brings us up to 5 mandrills, 9 elephants, and 1 leopard. A mason has been struck down by an elephant. A war dog has chased an elephant into a line of cage traps. More elephants have been caught while I wasn't looking. I'll have to wait to get an exact count. Timber. 2 more elephant-related deaths, and that marks the end of autumn. I need to take a break and do some essential homework and get some dinner. I'll probably finish up winter on Monday. I suck at screenshots, so what I did instead was export a picture of the whole map and copied out parts of that. First, here's the overview of the map. Here's one half of the elephant and mandrill whatever traps I have set up. I have channels blocking off one half of the map from the other, so animals have to go through these if they want to get across. Also, that's a platinum statue of me on that water-blocked island. 2. Look at the improved defenses. All of those ups are traps. The red ones are weapon traps, and the white ones are stonefall traps. So, all of this. The Noble Quarter. Recently expanded, so there's more room for, well, expansion. Also, a party is getting started in the statue garden, and one of our new pet elephants is in attendance. That's what the E is. Let's see. A 4. The second farm in the small furniture storage, also shown. Dwarves smoothing out the main pathway. There we go. The chasm with its beautiful red line of death. That's the lever you need to remember not to pull, by the way. A lot of weapon traps, 3 redundant bridges, a magma blocking channel, and the beginnings of the strip mining project. Deep within the mountain, ore stockpile and magma smelter/forge. Also, the magma floodgates are linked to the lever of doom. I put down some channels just in case someone does pull the lever. Part 8, by Locus. I propose that we each name one dwarf after ourselves when we end our reign, and retire/get demoted for gross negligence. I can do that retroactively for previous rulers if you all think it's a good idea. First Granite, 1054 early spring. I have been selected for as the next interim ruler of this village of Boatmurdered, which is well on its way to becoming a grand fortress. In hostile lands such as these, security and provisions are my first and foremost concerns. Although I was worried when I discovered that we had no military forces to speak of, an inspection of our trap systems revealed that they are sufficient to defeat any attacking force from inside or outside, below a full-scale siege. I looked to wells as a possible route of invading vermin, but only found barrels of alcohol. As we only have a scattering of peasants to choose from, most of which seem to be pursuing their own professions, I will wait for new immigrants to draft our army. In the meantime, weapons and armor must be forged. Nice. Personal note. My thoughts linger on the sinister herd of elephants I saw lurking across the river today, and I am tempted to order the construction of a special catapult battery which overlooks their territory in order to train our siege operators. Unfortunately, such slaughter would surely agitate the many animal handlers who have taken it upon themselves to capture and tame these monstrosities, for reasons I cannot fathom. For now, there are more pressing matters to attend to. So those are the herd of elephants right there. It's like 5 of them? There we go. Provisions are not as high as I would like, and especially with more immigrants coming soon. I have ordered some of our farm plots to be enlarged, and ordered the planting of the year's first crops. Noting the need for copper ore, I surveyed the walls of the cave river and noticed a small vein. I ordered a tunnel to be dug to the source, but work is slow, as we only have 2 miners, and one of them is resting to heal a very nasty-looking wounded left arm. I do not know what caused it. In fact, I am noticing that several peasants and farmers are in similar shape. Success. Kulet Regunib, our legendary miner, has struck silver while digging into the malachite vein. Ooh, okay. As I received early warning that the cave river was flooding, I noticed that our current bridge is extremely unstable and dangerous in such a situation. Fortunately, the dwarves and animals on the bridge were not swept off when it hit, but we may not have such luck in the future. I have ordered a pair of small bridges to be constructed upstream and downstream of the main walkway, in such a way as they will not compromise the drawbridge function. An elven caravan has arrived, and their friendship with nature seems to have protected them from the grazing elephants. I do not know the state of our crafts and trade goods, but bins are being sent to the trade depot in preparation. We traded a talc ring for 5 berries. Personal note: I grow to hate elves more and more as time passes. Still somewhat low on food. I have ordered several elephants to be put up for slaughter. Immigrants. Specifically 19 of them, with a mayor, a mason's guildmaster, and a house Ferrite representative. Mayor Raul Atrilor Sith. Personal note: I do not trust that name. Has settled into the nobles' quarters and is already demanding 7 fortress guards. I am drafting assorted peasants and mechanics to fulfill this, and using the 3 Swarddorf immigrants as the first squad in our new army. A ban on exporting red spinel items has been introduced by the mayor for some reason. What does he think our enemies are going to do? Stab us with jewels? I've had little sleep in the past 2 days and must retire for tonight. I have quite a bit of work to do in the upcoming season, mainly outfitting our soldiers with steel equipment, setting up improved magma crafting centers, and managing our food supply. I hope that the coming summer proves to be favorable to Boatmurdered. Keyboard Fox posted, Dude, we have 5 metric fuck tons of prepared food. We're not low on food. Locust posted, Oh, prepared food. So these are some kind of dainty fancy pants dwarves who don't sit in the dark and gnaw on cold mushrooms? That seems undwarf-like. It's dwarf bread, man. The cat peed on it and it doubles as a lethal throwing weapon. That makes sense. I bet it menaces with spikes of bread, too. I love the banter between the former rulers. It's really funny. Alright. First hematite. 1054, early summer. After being informed by the kitchen staff that we have a large stock of prepared meals, I'm not sure I understand the purpose of these. I have focused my attention mainly on our magma forging area. I am ordering the construction of another magma smelter and bronze bars to be cast. This craft business was just interrupted by the withdrawal from society by Tosid Fireyabby, who is unfortunately a novice glassmaker. Perhaps his mood has been caused by our lack of skilled and healthy miners, who have not yet excavated space for a magma furnace. I have called off the malachite mining operations until this area has been completed. Meanwhile, I am worried about the very unsafe construction of the halls near our magma forges. Rather than leaving the occasional natural supports of living stone, the previous ruler has instead dug out the entirety of this wide hallway, and built rather unstable-looking stone pillars here. I noticed a small lava flooding space around a pillar blocked by floodgates, which is presumably part of an emergency system to collapse the roof here. But even if a careless or angry dwarf were to dislodge one of them, the consequences would be catastrophic to anyone nearby. As I was coordinating mining operations and drafting an unskilled mechanic into the mining occupation, another flood struck. We were not so lucky this time, as worker Upon Le Synod was claimed by the river currents. However, my improved safety bridges saved the life of a farmer girl and her adorable kitten, who clung to the lower bridge until the flood receded. Kobold thieves infiltrated the entrance to the fort recently, somehow bypassing the cage traps. 2 were ripped apart by dogs and a fortress guard, while the last was chased away by a small cat. More invaders. It's good to see our cage traps still functional. Here they are after thwarting a group of mandrels. I am a bit worried about the amount of animals we have already captured and tamed. Few seem to have adopted them, except for the terrifying battle-scarred elephants. The amount of stray animals running through the halls has become a nuisance, but no one seems to have the knowledge or will to geld any of them. I foresee this to be a problem in the future, but I cannot bring myself to slaughter any needlessly. I have used some of our steel to create glassworking shops, as well as an additional smelter. This will speed up metal production for a great deal. Unfortunately, although the reclusive glassworking dwarf has claimed a standard glass furnace, he has not found all that he requires to build. I suspect that he is missing a turtle shell, and have asked those at the fishery to start processing fish in case one turns up. Start processing fish, my god, processing. I find it hard to believe that there are no shells in this entire fortress, so perhaps it is a specific type of rare glass he seeks. Tosid Ziraluclet. Tosid Fireyabby Craftsdwarf. Tosid Ziraculet has been miserable lately. He was caught in the rain recently. He has been annoyed by flies. He has been satisfied at work lately. He admired a wonderful bridge lately. Tosid Ziraluclet Culet likes chalk, pearl battle axes, idols, and demons for their terrifying features. When possible, he prefers to consume dwarven beer. He absolutely detests bats. He needs alcohol to get through the working day. All for naught, it seems. He has gone insane and wanders the halls, babbling with a depressed look on his face. Perhaps it was for the best, though, as he seemed to have an unhealthy interest in demons and strange idols. Note, he later drowned beneath the main drawbridge entrance. Duh. I oversaw a lot of cage management earlier. They are becoming exceedingly full, and the trappers are demanding more empty cages. All stray elephants were transported to a single cage, and animal trainers are working on taming the savage elephants, as well as the mandrels. I would like our mandrels to be chained up near sensitive areas as a form of defense, although they cannot be trained as war mandrels. They surely would attack some invaders, and serve as psychological defense to weaken enemy morale. Apparently, 2 stray elephants and one adult and one calf were accidentally released, and are now interrupting the workers' jobs nearby. The workers seem to be almost as disturbed by the beasts as I am, tame or not. At least they have stopped complaining about the lack of traps. I am unsure how to proceed in this situation. Perhaps it is time for my earlier catapult battery plans? The area they seem to be inhabiting densely populated. But I will begin construction of siege parts and observe their movements. On the topic of the main work storage area, I must complain about the decision of previous rulers who placed it out in the open. It is a horribly cluttered mess of barrels and shops, which are all easily immobilized by a single problem, as proven by the stray elephants. As I write, the stray, supposedly tame elephant appears to have struck down a pet war dog who wandered too close. It was probably Ikudoltude, or rain-stalked, the rather large and battle-scarred mother of the calf. I only hope that the siege workshop isn't close enough to be interfered with by her, although I confess that this place has proven too confusing for me to locate it myself. Whichever elephant was responsible for the earlier carnage, it was the male calf of Ikudoltude, who just now smote Carol Zenome, another war dog, who, although not dead, probably has little time left on this earth. His name translates to Helmed Crushed, which is sadly appropriate, as he seems to have had his head stomped upon, and is limping along and passing out frequently. I hope to do something about this before this elephant gets a name for its infamy. I do not know who started the fight, but it makes no sense either way. If I had a way of finding out who trained these animals, there would be a public flogging. Ikudoltude has just finished off Carol, but I just now heard word that someone, most likely a war dog, has struck down the elephant calf, which had wandered near the main bridge entrance. While watching this, I witnessed another stray elephant, most likely released from the animal trainer cages nearby. It did not seem to disturb the dwarves as much as Ikudoltude did, and actually took it by the collar and led it towards the cage where Ikudoltude lurks, before being scared away. I have a theory that once an elephant tastes dwarf blood, which is surely how this particular creature got her name, they cannot be tamed properly. Once again, a public flogging would be appropriate. The mayor has ended his mandate ban on exporting red spinel objects. Still a mystery as to why he had it in the first place. Soon he'll probably be mandating something worse. I have ordered the construction of a catapult to the east of Ikudoltude, but no one seems to be working on it. Perhaps the parts are stored too close to her, or the workers are incredibly lazy. Summer has ended, and although I have accomplished some of my goals, there is much more to be done. First of limestone, early autumn. Ikudoltude has been a thorn in our sides for much too long. I assigned more war dogs to our small defense force, activated the squad, and stationed them near her. After a few minutes, Unib Besmeletur appeared on the scene and began bravely striking Ikudoltude with her iron sword, gouging out both of the accursed behemoth's eyes. Finally, a fellow dwarf who shares my hatred for this beast. The battle continued, with Unib sustaining only minor wounds to her body from the blind rampaging of the massive elephant. Striking again with her sword, she heavily wounded Ikudoltude in the chest. The last moments of the battle were confused, as Ikudoltude passed out and was set upon by Unib and the captain of the guard, who had done nothing to help before and was most likely just trying to steal her glory. Unib's pet horse further obscured the fight by standing on the prone elephant until it finally bled to death. Unib Besmeletur. Unib Pulleycover Swords Dwarf. Unib Besmeletur has been ecstatic lately. She was caught in the rain recently. She had a pretty decent drink lately. She had a satisfying sparring session recently. She talked with a friend lately. She admired a fine well lately. She was disgusted by a miasma lately. She has complained of thirst lately. She slept without a proper room recently. She made a friend recently. She admired a fine, tastefully arranged door lately. She had a fine drink lately. Unib Besmela Latour likes granite, ballista parts, and mules for their stubbornness. When possible, she prefers to consume horse and dwarven wine. She absolutely detests rats. She needs alcohol to get through the working day. Ikudaltud's reign of terror has ended. Unib has been promoted to the leader of her squad in honor of this accomplishment, and her bravery in battle. Hurrah! In other news, a large dwarven caravan has been spotted and is making his way towards us. As I was waiting for them, a kobold showed its mark's stupidity by running towards the gate and getting slaughtered by a war dog, a soldier, and a cat. Several dwarves seem to have taken the full notion that there are supplies far out in the fields, and one of them, a stonemason, has paid the price for it. Rest in peace. Our fortress population is now at 75. I have traded some assorted low-value bone crafts for the exotic and interesting meats the caravan carried, as I know dwarves have favorite meals we may not be able to supply otherwise. Ikudaltud's corpse is rotting where it fell. I suppose no one wants to bury or cook it. I noticed that there were many dwarves who were idling about in the hallways, and all the food that we had bought was sitting in the trade depot. When I asked them about it, they said that they had been ordered previously not to touch any of the food or to do any sort of manual transportation. I ordered several to resume these duties, but it may be a problem again in the future. Mechanics seem to be especially lax. A fisher dwarf has nearly starved to death when a tower cap grew and blocked his path, locking him in the mill room. Fortunately, his cries were heard before it was too late, and a dwarf armed with an axe struck the mushroom down. Our mayor has mandated that we make 2 spinel red... I had a yawn. Our mayor has mandated that we make 2 red spinel items. Perhaps we had none before, so his export ban felt incomplete. A group of frogmen leapt from the river today, killing a war dog and a stray cat. They were quickly struck down by a member of the fortress guard and various peasants. The jack of all trades, as Urdimanil, has been possessed by unknown forces and has collected a stockpile of random materials in a crafts dwarf's workshop. Unfortunately, he stopped and is muttering to himself. He has 1 piece of clear glass, so I suspect he requires more, which is a problem as dwarves keep taking our silk bags for other purposes than to transport sand. A dwarf has also organized a party at the sandstone statues, further slowing down our operations. Autumn has ended. 1st of Moonstone, early winter. Due to laziness and poor time management skills on the part of the work dwarves, the red spinel item mandate missed its deadline. The mayor expressed disappointment and enacted a new mandate forbidding the export of jet items. I am somewhat unsure on how to proceed improving our fort in a functional way. My main effort on this front is the construction of a secondary living and dining quarters for dwarves who work on the bank of the magma flow. The slow progress in constructing this area is a constant reminder of how inefficient our metal operations are because of the remote location. Now that drinks and food are provided for the smiths, I would not be surprised if smelting and forging productivity doubles. I must also build traps near the workshops, as they are too vulnerable now and occupy what will be some of our most talented and important dwarves. Also due to laziness and poor time management on the... Oh wait, no, I am right here. Sorry, I lost my spot for a sec. Also due to the laziness and poor time management on the part of the work dwarves, no clear glass was ever produced. And as Erdymannil went insane, he started babbling at dwarves nearby, then ran halfway across the bridge, dove into the channel, removed his pants, and went streaking haphazardly across the hallways until he reached his room. He has been locked in to prevent his lack of garb from upsetting the more sensitive lady dwarves. Note, he later died of thirst. For the less functional aspects of the fort, I have begun construction of a complex of large tombs to hold the remains of the previous rulers of the fort. I have given the smaller tomb to Kalo, as he used much of his allotted funds commissioning a statue portrait. Some may say that my own tomb is receiving extra attention, but I believe I am entitled. And if someone else wanted to build a fancy one for themselves, they should have thought of it when they had the chance. Note: to those who intern me into my casket when I pass from this world, please use the provided chains to tether trained mandrills, or a suitable substitute to guard my bones from thieves and vandals. P.S. That last part kind of rhymes. I will have it engraved on the door at once. The long and quiet winter is ended, along with my interim reign as ruler of the fort. The magma work area is almost complete for now. All that remains is some stone hauling jobs, resumption of the well construction, assorted additional traps, and the placement of furniture. Here I take a look at my fellow retired rulers. And these are... These here are just the other rulers that have come so far, so... He renamed some of the dwarves for it. So you have Tourette Dogue, you have Magor Grendel, Kalo, Loke and Locus, and a map of the fortress. Here's what it looks like right now. It's pretty cool. There's some of the magma stuff going on over there. Another magma channel. There we go. Give you a good look of what's going on in here. Suggestions for my successor. Smoothing of glass production. There are very bad issues with creating potash container related. Construction of a treasury. As I was leaving, I noticed a pile of minted coins underneath the forge. Clothes and purchase construction. Dwarves are beginning to complain of tattered garments. Examination of job permissions. There is some inefficiency. Alright. We've gotten to the fun part. This is where things start to go real bad for the fort. And it gets also really funny in terms of its narration, too. Journal of Ral, Stark Raving Mad Swearington. Late winter, 1054. So there I am last night, tending my tavern Kinmel bill, when walks in this slick-backed, noble-looking cocksucker and tells me I have the great honor of accepting the overseer position of one of our outposts. Honor my hairy dwarven ass. More than likely, someone found out about that gold strike I had my men working on in the Hills of Sorrow, and this is their way of getting me out of the picture while they move in on it. But what can I do? The order is signed by the king himself, straight from Cadel fucking Logamfikuk. Which means that any attempt by yours truly to wiggle out of this great honor is gonna end up with me getting a hammering from the captain of the Royal Guard. Nice situation, eh, Chief? Well, pain or damage don't end the world. Despair or fucking beatings. The world ends when you're dead. Until then, you've got more punishment in store. Stand it like a dwarf, give it and give some back. That's what I always say. I take a look at the maps, and sure enough, this outpost is stuck in the middle of nowhere, smack in the smooth points of pride. Boatmurdered, they call it. A name which doesn't bode well for much of fucking anything. This morning I'm getting my supplies for the trip together, and what I do see a bunch of hooplehead cocksuckers loading up their wagons, and lo and behold, those horses are all pointed in the same way as mine. I make a few quiet inquiries, and they are all headed to fucking Boatmurdered too. I set out with all haste, figuring it would be best if I got a little head start on those assholes. So maybe I could get the place in some sort of order before they get there. Now I'm taking a quick breather, and I figured I should keep some sort of record of the trip, especially since I'm not so sure the plan isn't for me to be fucking stabbed in the back some other way and end up thrown into a bottomless chasm or something. Document what's happening, you see? Then at least if I get bumped off, there will be some record of how it happened, and maybe my men back in the capital can get revenge for my poor damn soul. I probably won't be writing much more in this thing until I get to Boatmurdered. I need to move quick and stay ahead of the rabid pack of immigrants breathing down my neck. I swear I can hear their mules already. Early spring, 10:55. Well, I made it to Boatmurdered, and my initial impressions can be set forth in 3 words. What the fuck? I'm going to include a few sketches of the place, artist impressions if you will, so excuse me if these are a little rough, but I have to try and fucking get my mind around what I am facing here. To begin with, all of our fucking workshops and trade goods are sitting outside in the fucking rain. One of the previous overseers might have been some shallow-dwelling sky-gazer, because having our production out here is just inhumane to the poor hoopleheads who have to stand out there. I almost went fucking crazy having to be under the goddamn open sky for the whole trip out here, instead of a nice, safe cavern. And some of these poor bastards have been working out in the open for 4 years now. 4 years, standing out in the rain, or even worse, under that horrifying, yawning expanse of blue open sky. Fuck that, I'm moving everything inside. Oh, and you see all those E's I drew down there at the bottom? Elephants. Previous overseer must have had some sort of sick fucking fascination with them, because we have elephants everywhere. Elephants in cages, elephants in the halls, elephants shitting in the dining room. Everywhere. I don't know what to do with them. Guess start butchering them and hope they make a good roast. You may also notice the lack of a road, or a bridge to the west. Apparently, in an excess of fucking caution, the previous overseers blocked off the entire section of the entire mountain with rivers, leaving no trade route for the human caravans. I am going to fix that as well. I am a businessman at heart, and caravans will come through before I am done here. A few other drawings for you. Most of the poor bastards living here are in 2 square rooms, with a chest, not even a fucking cabinet. I'm not even going to try and fix that for the current population, but I think we could do better for the new cocksuckers on the way. Here we have a gigantic hall where the roof is held up by fucking matchsticks, and a stiff breeze is going to make the whole thing collapse. I don't know what kind of suicidal maniac put this together, and I'm not going to change it now, but you can bet I'm not sticking one fucking foot in there. I have a lot of work to do. Room full of levers. I don't know what any of them do, and I'm not going to try and figure it out. With the way this place is set up, any one of them could make the whole place collapse in and like an accordion. Armok, help me. To start with, I'm going to move our food production facilities over here. near where the farm is. Kitchen, brewery, kitchen, brewery, butcher, fish cleaner, the whole 9 yards. We got some food storage over here too. Oh, did I mention the current dining room seats 8? And we have 74 fucking dwarves? We're gonna work on that too. New dining room and great hall will be over here, across from the food production. New workshop area and goods storage is gonna be over here, south of the Hall of Suicide. Should make life a little easier for the metalsmiths too. As if you couldn't tell from the excess of traps and walling the fortress off from the world, the previous overseers seemed to a bit of the military mindset. Me, I'm a trades dwarf at heart. All the smelters have been going full force, pounding out steel and iron for weapons of fucking war. I instructed them to change their focus a bit. The living caravan is here, of course, with no road or bridge. I don't know how the pointy-eared cocksuckers will ever even make it to the depot. Sorry, elves. Well, the immigrants are here. We also got a broker, some pompous asshole claiming to be the head of the Craftsdwarfs Guild. I think he's just looking for a free room without doing any work. But what can you do? 22 more dwarves, counting the nobles. This should be fun. Gonna drill out some new bedrooms north of the Suicide Hall. The new broker immediately endears himself to me by mandating the production of toy forges. I'm tempted to tell him that I mandate he go fuck himself, but I think better of it and just put in the work order for him. Late spring, 10:55. The dwarves working here are the laziest bunch of hoopleheads I've ever seen. If they aren't drinking, they're sleeping it off, or storing an item in the stockpile, boss, which seems to be code for fucking around carrying things from place to place instead of doing some real work. I have 6 fucking carpenters. I asked for this workshop to be built 3 months ago. You think anyone gets around to it? It's a 10-minute job, but they're too busy to do it. Busy doing what? I don't fucking know. Since without the workshops, they can't carpenter anything either. I have 4 miners. 2 of them apparently sleep 20 hours a day. One is so injured he can't walk, and the last claims to be the retired ruler of this place. But he's the only guy who actually does anything. Who actually does any digging. Noticing that we have a military of 3, not counting our fortress guards, I go ahead and draft a few more, giving me 2 squads so I can rotate who is on duty and who is slacking off in the barracks. Mayor just stormed into my office and demanded I stop the export of red spinel items. Considering I've never seen a fucking red spinel and have no idea what one is, I told him I was sure I could accommodate his request. Apparently the Craftsdwarfs Union rules preclude me from directly asking for anything specific, including the fucking mini-forges that our beloved broker storms into my office every day and demands. The best I can do is tell them to make toys, and hope that they happen to figure out that means mini-forges, and not boats or hammers or axes or puzzle boxes or all this other shit that I am now buried under. And not a single mini-forge. And so the broker is pissed at me that there isn't shit all I can do, since I wouldn't know how to make a fucking mini-forge to save my life. I need a drink. Early summer, 10:55. Picture of the new food prep area. New dining, parenthesis which I am about to have engraved, and new elephant in a fucking cage storage room. We had 3 trappers, a profession that was only gonna get them killed, and Armok knows the last thing we need is more fucking trapped animals anyway. I told them to make clothes instead, since half the dwarves here are walking around in tatters and they're pissed about it. The manager demanded a clear glass window in his room. To fucking look at what? I asked him. Your room doesn't have a hole leading to the outside. Your room doesn't have a view of anything. The best I can do is put in a window that is 2 feet away from a stone wall. He doesn't give a shit. He wants a window? Fine. I hope the cocksucker falls through it while drunk. You have some really messed up room that serves as a bedroom, dining room, office, and anything for all the nobles at once. I started carving out some real noble rooms deeper in the mountain for the next batch of nobles to show up. Human caravan is here, but unfortunately I couldn't get the road built in time, so no wagons. I'll have it through before the year is up, though. Humans bring me lots of meat and cloth. I trade them an elephant in a cage for everything they own. Have fun with that one, assholes. I finished making the broker's mini-forges. He immediately issued a mandate that no mini-forges could be exported. I guess the cocksucker just really likes his fucking mini-forges. One of my farmers took over the crafts dwarf shop, and he's babbling about gods and artifacts and sketching pictures of quarries and ore and trees and shells and everything under the fucking sun. I'm sketching pictures of the fortress guards lopping his head off in about 2 weeks. The road is through. Welcome to greater society, Boatmurdered. Oh, for the love of... Sure, why not? More migrants, come on in, cocksuckers, the more the merrier. I finally figured out something useful to do with all the trapped animals. The Barnum and Bailey Happy Time Zoo, pictured below, parenthesis still under constructions. Friends, if you like to look at elephants or mandrills or more fucking elephants and mandrills, this is ever the place for you. Kind of ironic, considering my nickname and all. At least I have that craft shop back. Goshud Melbid. Farmer cancels strange mood. Went insane. Goshud Melbid. Farmer has gone stark raving mad. A frogman jumped out of a well and surprised Sibruk, one of the military dwarves. He killed the froggy pretty easily, and then he somehow got stuck in the well. So now little Timmy there is dying of thirst because he can't drink from the well that his fat ass is stuck in. His friends don't seem to have any trouble drinking around him. I guess they brought straws or something. Autumn, 10:55. I told our engravers to engrave the walls and floor of the new dining room. They proceed to decorate the room with some of the most horrifying shit I've ever seen. I mean, fuck, dwarves are trying to eat in there. Ogez Stumam, the Hole of Broiling. Engraved on the wall is a superiorly designed image of an elephant by Tourette Doge Regunib. The elephant is in a fetal position. Honestly. Kik Sterus, the Speck of Driving. Engraved on the wall is a finely designed image of a dwarf by Tourette Doge Regunib. The dwarf is dead. I really do love the descriptions. We've got a little elephant issue happening down south. I'm starting to understand why the previous owner had 1 million of them in cages. 1 or 2 got pissed and they killed someone. Now the dwarves are trying to get the items from the guys that died. And the elephants are just running wild over everyone. A couple of the elephants got caught in the remaining cage traps, but 1 or 2 got through. The brave military men of Boatmurdered stand by the front gate, and they brave themselves for a rush at the mighty elephants. And it was just about then that the fucking dwarven caravan arrived. I ordered the military to hold fast. Let the caravan guardsmen get themselves slaughtered by the elephants before we do. Which is also right about when a goblin thief jumped out and got clobbered by a stonefall trap. So the merchants arrived to see blood and vomit everywhere, us hauling corpses en masse to the graveyard, a couple of rampaging elephants. Welcome to fucking Boatmurdered. Hope you like miasma. The elephant has killed so many guys he has a fucking full-on last name and title now. But one of the dogs finally knocked him unconscious. No more Rutik on. Elephant. Lung despair the nettle of M. About 16 more elephants have showed up to support their buddies. The funny thing is, the elephants keep trying to leave. Like they'll go down the passageway back toward the outside, and then some fucking dwarf wanders in to get the dead guy's pants or whatever. And it pisses the elephants right the fuck off, and they come charging back up the passage again. Guess I'd better put in a work order for some more fucking coffins. Despite me telling the dwarves to stay inside and stop going out there, they continue to try and recover corpses. It's time for harsher measures. I told everyone to stop fucking gathering everything. But it doesn't matter what I tell these morons. They're bound and determined to march to their deaths. Harsher fucking measures are necessary. I install 2 front doors and lock them. No one gets in or out. Boatmurdered is closed until further notice. Basically, this stops the elephant problem for now as a temporary measure. I'm hoping they get bored when they figure out no more fucking toys are coming to play and wander off. We lost about 20 dwarves in this debacle. Of course, just to add insult to fucking injury, about 17 snake men jump out of the river. We don't really lose any there except a couple of dogs and cats though. Yeah, you elephant assholes. Choke on that miasma. Meanwhile, one of my clothes makers made about the awesomest shirt ever. Stumanam, broiled edges, a pigtail tunic. This is a pigtail tunic. All Craftsdorfship is of the highest quality. It is decorated with pigtail and cave lobster shell, and encircled with bands of pigtail. It is made from pigtail cloth. This object is adorned with hanging rings of turquoise and platinum, and menaces with spikes of steel, sandstone, and tin. On the item is an image of dwarves and dwarves in pigtail. The dwarves are speaking with the dwarves. On the item is an image of dwarves and dwarves in rock crystal. The dwarves are speaking with the dwarves. God damn. I've started Project Fuck the World. A top secret attempt to funnel magma to the outside. I'll kill those elephants. I'll kill all those fucking elephants. I don't know if I'll have time to finish it though. I've also started Project Get Me the Fuck Out of Boatmurdered, and I'm hoping to finish that one by the end of the year. Remember I told you how I ran into some miner claiming to be the former ruler of this place? Well, that's just how the sneaky bastard got out of here. I finally figured it out, and I'm taking the same route as soon as I can. See, I just convinced some poor cocksucker to say he's me. Enough platinum and he'll go for it, and then I slip right the fuck out of town. Easy as pie. I already found someone who looks enough like me for it to work. I just have to wait for the right moment to escape this elephant-ridden hellhole. Elephants don't seem to be leaving. They just love their stench in miasma-filled tunnels, so still, no one can go outside. All the wood is outside, which means my carpenters don't have a lot to do right now. But I know if I crack the front door for them to get wood, they'd go fucking running down to the elephant tunnel to say hello to their gigantic, angry, tusked friends. On the brighter side, we have plenty of beds, since most of their previous fucking occupants are now dead. So we don't need carpenters to make much right now. As you know, sometimes you think it can't really get much worse. And then it does. The goblins are upon us. A vile force of darkness has arrived. Hello, boys. Are you kidding me? Am I supposed to be scared of a little fucking goblin siege? I'm already trapped in this fortress by 4 legendary elephants. Shit, I'm just hoping you assholes manage to kill the elements for me. Give you a fucking medal. The worst thing you could do to me would be to open the door, causing the lemming rush of death down the elephant tunnel again. Come on. Bring it on. Apparently, the elephants don't mind the goblins. They're best friends. Oh, you're here to beat up the dwarves? Well, by all means, go on through. Be our guest. We'll just be out here chewing on these dwarf bones if you need us. The goblins are totally confused by this and have decided to go stand around by the channel. Hey, the sign on the door says closed. Shit, Bob, I thought you said it was open till 9 on Saturdays. What do we do? Maybe we should ask the elephants. They seem to have killed a lot of them. The goblins just lazily took a few pot shots at a stray cat still wandering out front, and then they just stayed out in the elephant tunnel. I think they're starting their own little town in there. Elephants and goblins living together in peace and harmony, joined only by their burning hatred for dwarves. Operation Fuck the World has failed. I struck water with my aqueduct, and the channel outside is now filled with water. Whoever comes after me may try and continue the project. They'll just have to route to a different tunnel. Or they may try to build up the military enough where they could do a frontal assault on the elephant and goblin army. Me? I'm past fucking caring. You see, spring has sprung, and I'm taking my fucking chances to get out of town. That poor sucker will take my name, and by the time they figure out he's not me, and he's just some hooplehead who can't run a wagon, much less a fortress, I'll be long gone. New name, new town, new fortune. Nothing's worth staying here, so I'm leaving this journal in the desk in the overseer's office. To whoever finds this journal, good fucking luck to ya. Although I wouldn't be surprised if the next person decided to revert to Locust's save instead. It wasn't even opening up to the road and the bridge that did it, because the elephants and goblin came in through the trap channel. The problem is just that I forgot to make new cages and to reset the traps to the lower channel. So only 1 or 2 of them were alive. And when like 12 elephants came rushing through, there wasn't much I could do. And then they got into that loop of trying to get to the dead dwarf stuff and dying themselves. And even sending in the military just caused more losses. It was a pretty ugly round. Although, I think I did accomplish some good stuff. Particularly moving the production and storage facilities inside and getting a couple new nobles installed. Place isn't a total loss, so long as, don't open the front door. But you may just be able to muster up enough of an army to overcome it. Or do a lava flood of the exterior. Or just pray a human caravan with some badass swordsmen comes through. Aside from the whole goblin and elephant siege, the fortress is in pretty good shape. There's plenty of food, sleeping space, and production for survival. It's just a matter of cleaning the exterior. Right now, you're gonna see a lot of error message spam, since some of the dwarves are just trying to do things that require going outside, and there's no path to it. Good luck, no matter what you decide to do with it. Part 20 by Bremen. I found the mangled body of a fellow dwarf in the hills outside the capital, surrounded by elephant tracks. I didn't think he'd be complaining, so I emptied out his pockets. I knew it was going to be a lucky day for me this morning before the guards found me sleeping in the back of the warehouse and kicked me out. Not only was the guy loaded, but he had a piece of paper directing him to take charge of one of the colonies, someplace called Boatmurdered. Whoever named that must have had a weird sense of humor. Well, I figured that since the place had never seen the guy's face, I took the paper and the money, of course, and started following the directions on the piece of paper. I finally found the place. The directions led me through a hidden passage that strangely looked like an escape tunnel. It wasn't until I got inside and tried to find out who was in charge that I found out why. It seems like this place is under siege by a combined force of goblins and elephants, and the last ruler dug the tunnel in place to escape. It sounded like a good idea to me, but when I tried to open the door to the escape tunnel, the whole thing collapsed. Guess I'm in for the duration. Everything's in chaos here. No one can go outside because of the elephants and goblins. The dwarves kept acting like I should know what to do, so I told them to dig some fortifications we could shoot outside from. The other dwarves informed me, to my surprise, that the goblins had bows too. It was a frightening concept. Hold up. Where was I? It was a frightening concept and made me long for the escape tunnel. But I had already noticed the other dwarves' skeptical looks at me, so I ordered them to do it anyway and said it would all work out. While I was excavating the tunnel this morning, a bunch of dwarves ran in. I panicked and tried to hide the tunnel, but they all grabbed me and ran for the main hall. I was beginning to regret my deception, when I noticed everyone was cheering. Turns out the goblins all left. They probably got bored or something. Everyone else thought I'd known about it from the beginning, though, and now the fortifications were almost done. We were in a perfect position to deal with the elephants. Between the military and a ballista, we managed to kill some of the elephants and force the rest of the way from the fortress. I've declared today a national holiday. With the fortress safe, I finally got around to asking how much this job pays. All the other dwarves looked puzzled, and they finally explained to me they don't use any money, and that everyone just works together. There's no way I'm going to keep risking my life in a fortress surrounded by goblins and elephants, so I ordered the smiths to start minting coins and sent a request to the capital for a bookkeeper. We've also sighted an elven caravan approaching. I wonder if they'll mind the fact that the entrance to our fortress is surrounded by the rotting bodies of elephants and dwarves. Elnoriz al-Kil Bekom. Glory's Fatal, the Points of Spring, a Moonstone Bra. This is a moonstone bracelet. All Craft's dwarfship is of the highest quality. It is decorated with moonstone and mahogany and encircled with bands of onyx, mandrel bone, and silver. The object menaces with spikes of jet. On the item is an image of a mandrel and a dog in moonstone. The dog is striking down the mandrel. On the item is an image of an elephant and a dwarf in rope reed. The elephant is making a plaintive gesture. The dwarf is laughing. On the item is an image of a cheese in clear glass. I commissioned this bracelet in honor of our victory. Well, actually I didn't so much commission it. When I went to visit the craftsman, he was babbling about dead cities and the awakening of ancient gods or something. Also, I have no idea where these cheese comes in, but I'm not going to question it. In other news, I traded some stone trinkets to the elves for berries and cloth. It turns out all the trade goods were out in the depot since no one could bring them back in, what with the elephants and all. I've taken steps to make sure the elephants never menace this fortress again. The others think I'm paranoid, but they're all fools. The elephants will return, and unless we're ready, they'll trample every last one of us to dust. A bookkeeper arrived from the capital, and already our people are beginning to hoard their precious coins. Of course, some can no longer afford rooms to sleep in, but this helpfully makes room for the most recent wave of immigrants, which I was unable to prepare for due to the goblin and elephant siege. Disaster struck today when one of the brewers told me we were running out of spirits and there was nothing left to brew. Turns out I forgot to order the farms to start this spring. This ruler stuff sure is complicated. Disaster has struck. Our scouts have reported a herd of elephants approaching the fortress. Due to the lack of time in cages, only 2 of the cage traps have been reloaded. This manages to catch 2 of the elephants, but the rest make it through. Meanwhile, all of the dwarves assigned to ballista duty think this would be a great opportunity to eat, drink, or sleep. A ballista operator finally arrives on the scene, and we get our second unpleasant surprise. The ballistas are incredibly inaccurate, even at short range. Success at last. The ballista instantly kills an elephant and hurls the body back a good 20 feet. Successive ballista shots manage to kill another elephant, but then disaster strikes when a dwarf wanders in and gets killed by an elephant. All the other dwarves, seeing an opportunity for new capitalistic riches, begin to rush towards the body to grab his valuable equipment. Remembering the stories I heard about my predecessor, I hurriedly order the outer door to be locked. But the door is stuck open. That elephant sympathizer, that traitor, that quisling, that monarch butterfly? Apparently showing incredible coordination, a monarch butterfly flew into the door workings just before the time of the attack and jammed it open. With all the bodies and items left by the elephants, no one is doing such low-priority tasks such as cleaning up bug remains. Meanwhile, the ballista operators, seeing the riches beyond their carved fortifications, gleefully follow the crowd out of the main door and into the elephant-choked tunnel. Assigning more dwarves to operate the ballistas depletes the remaining supply of arrows without effect. My marks dwarves run out of bolts. There are still 2 elephants remaining. There's only one chance left. I activate the entire military and send them in a mass charge against the elephants. The recruits, minus all those drinking, eating, and sleeping, let out a mighty good lord. Let out a mighty shout and charge for the glory of Boatmurdered. None can fault their bravery, only their results. After consulting diagrams and schematics left by my predecessors, I think I found a way to seal off the fortress. Pull the damn lever. Pulling the lever has entirely foreseeable consequences. Oh well, they were gonna die anyways. With the survivors all holed up inside the fortress, I begin organizing things to best effect. Without wood, I can't produce more ballista bolts, but the lava forges and smelters are able to produce a trickle of bronze bolts. I order as many dwarves as I can spare to arm themselves with crossbows and hope they can find some without going outside. Most of these dwarves think this will be a perfect opportunity to eat, drink, and sleep. Meanwhile, the elephants, bored without a steady stream of dwarves to kill, are slowly torturing a war dog that was stuck outside. After a few months of being pricked by whatever crossbow bolts I can forge, the 2 remaining elephants keel over and die of blood loss. Victory! I order the drawbridge lowered and the dwarves stream out for their first breaths of fresh air in months. I immediately order a door placed on the entrance to stave off the elephant hordes. However, within a month I become aware of another herd approaching. A single untrained marksdwarf stands ready to defend the crossing, but I doubt he'll be enough. I wonder why no dwarf has put up the doors yet, or even cleared the equipment or refuse from the area. A quick inspection finds the problem. A huge number of tame animals combined with the narrow corridors is causing a truly horrible traffic jam. I order the corridors widened and as many animals as possible put into cages. Luckily, the elephant herd turns south and skips the fortress entirely. The corridors beginning to be passable again, a dwarf manages to construct the door, blocking off the elephants forever. Kodor Semor, Dawn United, a marble amulet. This is a marble amulet. All Kraftsdorfschiff is of the highest quality. It is decorated with marble and jet and encircled with bands of horse leather, rope reed, and cave spider silk. This object menaces with spikes of horse leather. On the item is an image of a dwarf and an elephant in marble. The elephant is striking down the dwarf. On the item is an image of a dwarf and an elephant in marble. The elephant is striking down the dwarf. On the item is the image of a dwarf and a moonstone bracelet in turtle shell. The dwarf is raising the moonstone bracelet. On the item is an image of a buckler and kapok. In the final days of summer, a mason constructs a controversial work of art to express his feelings of frustration and guilt. I have him imprisoned for defeatism. Stark Raving Mad posted, "Here, I've made an amulet of all the history I know. Look, it's an elephant slaughtering dwarves by the hundreds. You can really see the bones and gristle. If you check back, there's a lovely rendering of a butterfly jamming the fortress doors open. Also more elephants killing dwarves." One or two previous rulers died during my reign. I guess I should have documented that better, but it was kind of hard to keep track. What with the ground awash in dwarven blood and my panicked attempts not to permanently screw over the whole succession game. Most of them are dead, yes. And I'll try and give more concrete info on the survivors at the end of my turn. Well, at least we're resting peacefully in our tombs, in spirit. Probably underneath elephant remains, in the physical sense. I ran out of coffins, and then I ran out of designated graveyard space. Most of you are spending your eternal rest in the garbage dump. The fall caravan arrives, running right into a herd of elephants. The guards engage them for a bit, actually managing to take down 2, before all but one flees toward the fortress with various elephant-caused injuries. The elephants hang back and wait. They know the caravan has to come back over the bridge, and an elephant never forgets. Dorin Dostrobrol, child, is taken by a fey mood. Children grow up so fast these days. Apparently, during the confusion, an imp wanders into one of the traps of the forging area and gets torn apart. The elephants get bored without any slaughtering going on and leave, just in time for the caravan to make its escape. A while after the caravan leaves, some new immigrants show up. These go a long way towards replacing our losses. Current population, 74. I draft most of them into the army or reorganize it into a mostly crossbow-armed force, with a few heavily armored swords dwarf supplemented by similarly armed town guard. Mandrels appear and head for the trade depot. I mobilize the army, but they're all busy sleeping and don't arrive in time to help. Mandrel, Platinum Ring hauled. No. A Mandrel has stolen a Platinum Ring. Sad face. But what's this? Apparently a number of Mandrel are still across the river and unable to find a way across. Time for revenge. A soldier reaches the far side of the river and fires his crossbow. A hit on the foot. Die, Mandrels, die. At last, revenge is ours. Doran Dostrobel has begun a mysterious construction. Meanwhile, in the fortress, the child prodigy begins construction on a strange artifact. Rungak Bokbon, Skunk Heather, an onyx toy boat. This is an onyx toy boat. All Craft's dwarf ship is of the highest quality. It is studded with silver, decorated with onyx, jet, and cave lobster shell, and is encircled with bands of rock crystal. This object menaces with spikes of turquoise and rose quartz. On the item is an image of dwarves in turtle shell. The dwarves are speaking with the dwarves. On the item is the image of a dwarf and an elephant in cave lobster shell. The elephant is striking down the dwarf. Man, that kid needs counseling. Only winter is left. Sorry this update is taking long, but I'll try and finish it off tomorrow. By Bremen. Somewhat of an anticlimax, it was a calm and uneventful winter. The new military trains hard at the archery range. I only have a few more short months to hammer a collection of peasants into a disciplined and capable army. Inspiration is provided when a huge numbers of elephants just loitering outside the walls with blood in their eyes. Spring has arrived. Spring has come, and with its coming I've decided to retire and become the leader of the armed forces. Memories of the great elephant slaughters haunt my dreams. And only with a crossbow will I ever find peace. The Defenders of Boatmurdered. Tourette dog. Did my former ruler make it, or was he one of the lemmings who waited against the elephants? Bremen posted, "You not only survived, but you've become an insanely leveled out dwarf, legendary in 2 skills and every stat maxed out. So I wanted to draft you into the military as an uber swords dwarf and steel plate, but I didn't want to get any more former rulers killed." Tourette Dog Regunib, retired ruler. No job, ultra mighty, perfectly agile, unbelievably tough, legendary miner, grower, dabbling mason, dabbling herbalist, dabbling wrestler, legendary engraver. Okay. Ooh, actually, I just looked at the time. I'm gonna have to turn this into a 2-parter, dang. So next week I'm gonna finish off Boatmurdered, but we got to Sankas's rule. Alright, let's see. We'll close it up for now, and good lord, I just looked at the time. I gotta go to bed. So yeah, I love Boatmurdered, actually. It is very funny, and it is a story that I think is worth telling, so I don't mind telling it. But for right now, your boy has to go to bed, and tomorrow is going to be gaming day, so thank you all so much for watching. If you like what I do, please follow me on Twitter or my YouTube, whichever one you prefer, and whatever they decide to call it this week. And as always, I am Byte the Robot. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will catch you all next time. Peace out, everybody.